Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm Jeff Dover. With me is John Barban. Let's talk football.
Yeah, let's talk the New York Jets and what just happened to Robert
Our
Saleh.
version of an emergency podcast.
Yeah, this is it's I guess the timing's good. We were going to record now anyways, so
Mhm.
I just got word this morning. What do you think this is going to do anything? Like what an odd timing for this? What do you
Yeah, I don't. That's a great question. So I'd love to know the backstory. I don't know if we're going to get it. We're probably not going to get it. I'm interested in how much Aaron Rodgers was involved, like coming off what looked like one of his worst games ever. I don't know if it's a scapegoat type of situation. I don't know if Rodgers is on the same page with the offensive coordinator and the head coach is the only one that isn't, or if they're, I don't know, because I'm assuming something like that had to have happened, because that's the only reason why you would get rid of a coach at this point in the season, where like in the standings, it's not like they're out of it, or so, you know what I mean? Like, it's just weird to fire someone 5 games in. So I'm assuming there's a backstory. I don't know if we're going to get it. They're trying to make a difference now with 12 games left. So
Yeah, it's super odd timing. So I
yeah,
guess what are they going to do? Elevate the offensive coordinator because that's Rodgers' guy?
I don't know. I'm assuming they have someone in place, and I'm assuming that was part of the conversation. You know, I don't. And again, I'm projecting how much Rogers would be involved with this, but I'm just assuming, since it's the feeling has been that he's going to be the Jets savior. That's why they got him. That's why they brought him here. The only reason why they didn't do well last year is because he wasn't there. Even though, like, it is possible to win in the NFL without your starting quarterback. Look at Green Bay and Malik Williams. But and for him to be there and then for them not to win, and they don't want to blame Rodgers, so then someone's got to go. I'm surprised this wasn't the offensive coordinator. I'm assuming like there's someone else that would have had a better plan in mind, or so, I don't know. So I'm assuming it wasn't, because otherwise the offensive coordinator would have been fired instead of the head coach. But maybe it's, if I had
Yeah.
to speculate, it was the offensive coordinator and Rodgers were more on the same page, and Saleh didn't want to run it the way they wanted it to. And so that's my conspiracy theory, is that that's what it was. And so then they were like, okay, he's got to go, the coach.
Yeah, I mean, that's all it could be.
Yeah.
The conspiracy theorist in me would think, oh, this Rodgers is running the show because he brought his own coordinator, he brought some players that he likes. And to your point, maybe they're not running it the way he wants to, so it's just his call. And since the GM made all of these decisions, it's not Saleh wasn't behind bringing Rodgers. I mean, he doesn't get to pull the strings. The GM.
Mhm.
This is the GM's job to do this. So to your point, the only thing that possibly makes sense without any inside knowledge, but just as a fan, it just seems as though they must view Saleh as getting in the way of the true success. That can't be anything else, right?
Yeah.
So, and if Rodgers is the Hall of Fame quarterback and you actually think you have him at his full speed, which we just said, I don't think he is. I think he's lost a step, and it
Yes.
showed against the Vikings, because that game was there for the taking, and he blew it.
Yep.
Rodgers blew that game. Saleh's not throwing
Yeah.
3 picks.
No, Rodgers blew that game. And it's also, I don't think it's Saleh's fault because they can't run the ball, because like the personnel is there. I don't know. At some point it is like the players on the field have to take responsibility for what's happening, so
I mean, this
it's
is how the NFL goes, though. Someone's got to go, and you don't
yeah.
fire the quarterback. You just back the Brinks truck up so the coach goes. But I mean, how is this going to make things better? It just turned them into an even bigger circus than they already have been.
I mean, it's, to me, I'm now, what was not going to be on my radar before, but now will be on slightly, is the hold on, let me pull this up here. I think
Bills Jets Monday
it's
night.
the Monday night game, because all of a sudden now, like, Allen looked bad as the last game, as we talked about in our reaction show. This feels like a must win for both teams, kind of like a get right game. And it's a conference game, right? So it's going to be
Division game.
division game, whatever. So that's what the like that this is going to be an important tiebreaker potentially later on in the season. So
I can't even imagine what the thought process is. I know the media is going to be speculating all over the map. Somebody somewhere will have some inside information, but I highly doubt we're going to get the true story.
yeah.
Like, I don't think Coward or any of the big broadcasters are really going to get the real story. No one's going to really tell them what happened here. We might find out later in later in the season.
Mhm.
There seemed to be trouble with that marriage. Remember a few weeks ago where Saleh
With
goes
the
to
almost
hug?
with a half hug.
Well, he goes to hug him and Rodgers just shoves him away, and everyone
Yeah,
was doing the reading the lips, and it's like not yet or not now or it's too early, whatever it was.
right.
And it's like, you don't get it. This game's not over. We're not even close to winning this game, is
Yeah.
what Rodgers, it seemed like the sentiment was there.
Mhm.
I don't know. This just seems like such weird timing. And coming, the Bills are in desperation mode.
Mhm.
You do this before your showdown with a division rival on Monday night.
Mhm.
My prediction right now, without knowing what's going on, is the Bills
Mhm.
are going to crush them.
Really? See, I find that, like, I think that if I was a Jets fan, I don't know if I would have really thought Salah was fantastic. And it feels like they're doing everything they can to make a change and to make the team better or like fire the team up. So maybe this makes the difference. I think typically they're after something like this where the coach gets fired at this point, it's sort of a rallying cry for the team. And then they're going to come out with a good game on Monday. So I think
Well,
it's
they got 6 days to rally.
yep,
At least they
yeah,
got the extra couple days.
yep. I think that was part of it too. So, but the
Maybe.
extra days and an extra day and the division game,
When was
So
okay? So this, you might not have an answer for this. Can you think of the last time a coach was fired mid-season and it just turned the team around?
no, I can't. I mean, there was a good example in hockey. I think with the Blues one time where they
I
were.
think you're losing the audience right now.
It's, sorry, that's ice hockey for those listening. If you're not familiar with it, there's professional teams in Canada and the US for that.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but like that's literally that one I remember was they were below 500 or something halfway through the season and then was a new coach. But to your point is that coaches don't get fired usually 5 games into a season like this unless it's an absolute hot mess, which it doesn't feel like it's 2-3. I don't know, but it's um but yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head where they're like, thank God we did that. Like, because we're great now, that doesn't
Yeah.
ring any bells.
Well, now one of the best defensive coordinators is available if anybody needs one.
Yeah, true.
If he doesn't want to be another head coach, he's for sure going to be someone's defensive coordinator.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, I don't have much else to say about it. Now it's the circus of the Jets just continues, and now we'll see what happens on Monday night.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's still you still have some foundational stuff in there, like with the defense and some of the players and I think the running back's not bad, so we'll see.
I mean,
See how they come out with.
the loss to the Broncos was in a hurricane. You can't really indict them
Yeah.
for that one. I mean, that
Yeah.
was a mess of a game, but it was a mess of a game on both sides. That could have just been
Mhm.
one bad fumble, one direction or the other. I don't know. Do you think it's even just this year's performance, or do you think this must have been building since last year? Because the sample size of games. Okay, so the really bad game of Rodgers was this past week. Like he performed, with all the picks. I
Mhm.
don't think you can even indict them for the hurricane game. It's just a mess. Like no one's going to play good in that kind of weather. And yeah, 10-9, who cares? Like no one was going to put up a good performance in that weather. So you can call, he's had one really bad game against the Vikings, who might be the best team in the whole league. Then you travel to Europe. So you might just not be feeling good, jet lag. I wouldn't use that as the straw that broke the camel's back. Like to me, that's
No.
also an odd game to do it off of, because weird things happen when you go across the ocean. Who knows, maybe you got sick, maybe whatever it is. I wouldn't use that particular game against a team as good as the Vikings to be look, we just don't have it. And then before that, you had a hurricane game. So you've got 2 games that are very strange.
Mhm.
I don't know. That just
Yeah,
seems,
no,
you know,
it's weird. So it's just the research team got back to me, and it was 57-year-old Berube guided the Blues to Stanley Cup Championship 2019. He replaced Mike Yeo and the coach in November. So that was another early November 20th. So that was another early firing, and then he turned the team around. But that
okay,
was
so it's possible in pro sports, but highly unlikely.
yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see what happens starting on Monday night.
Very good. That's
All
it for
right.
me.
Well, catch us on the next show when we do our NFL preview.